And welcome back to the live TV show again. Yeah, I'm a little excited because we just had an interview with the world champion, Akihiro Takahashi, the youth world champion. So that was an interesting interview. And what is your thought about this young guy?
You're asking all of us together?
Yes.
Well, to be honest, I didn't even know he was coming at first. So I saw his name in a list and a huge rating. Only this tournament I learned he was 12 years old. And just half an hour ago I learned he started playing at 10.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how it's possible. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Because the reason why we, for now sitting here, is that we will talk about the future of Othello, youth player. And yeah, he's 12-year-old, so isn't that amazing that we have this niveau of young player?
It is amazing. We were just discussing before the tournament with other colleagues that it is impossible for the youth person to actually enter the semifinals and automatically win the youth championship by that. But it is not only possible, but he was the first one, which is incredible. And I know from my experience, it took me about 5 years to just understand what the game of Othello is about, what the real trick is. Yeah. Not the corners, but the real trick inside. And he did it in 2 years, and he's there.
He told me in the interview that it's a lot of young players playing. It was a big tournament that he won. So it was very hard for him to win. Is that the reason why the youth players are so good? Because I remember when Yusuke Takanashi, he was 17 when he was winning his first game, tournament, but he had played already for 5 years. And also Okuyama started playing when he was 10 years and was also around 18 when he won his first. So is the amount of players in Japan the reason why they are so good?
It must definitely be the main reason, because if you have a tough competition, then you're simply, it pushes you forward automatically.
Yeah.
And I think you don't even need a huge number of excellent players. You just need a huge number of players so that you try to learn to play against everyone in different styles and different games.
And obviously Japan has an edge in that because of the volume. At the same time, this guy is made out of something very special. I would like to add, though, that this World Championship has been characterized by many junior players at very different levels, and that's really made my heart happy to see that. So he's the top of the pops. He will make it big, but at the same time, we have seen a bunch of young, happy juniors running around, having fun, and playing some good games also, and that has, I think, characterized at least this World Championship that I've seen.
Yeah, they are the future of, and the World Othello Federation decided 2 years ago to do a kind of test period of 3 years to check out if it was possible to arrange a World Othello Championship for youth. So the decision was that each country could send one extra youth player. And last year it was, in Meet it was 4 youth players, and this year it's 13. So Netherlands have 1 player and you. So how big can it be for the future?
As big as the main World Championships one day.
Yeah.
Of course, we will have to decide on the logistics, whether we want to separate or not, and people like yourself are very capable of making those decisions. I think ordinary players like me should concentrate on trying to actually nurture the youth and train the youth, and we are doing that, and I know you're doing that in your countries also. So that's the contribution we can make. And then at the end of the day, how the tournaments are held, I'm very confident you will make the right decisions there.
Yeah, we can start with what happened in the federation. We can start with Denmark.
Sure.
You had the first Danish Youth Championship this year.
We did the under 15, and the story is that for the past maybe 1 year, we have, or senior people like myself have put an effort into that. Together with some of the very good players like Carsten and Erik Lund, who's not here, and we have been lucky to get into some of the schools. And the way we have done it is to get within the municipality some connections that are responsible for the math teaching. So our entry point is the math teaching, and there we were exposing the math teachers to Othello, and 2 of them could see that they could use it in their teaching. So we have had for the past, say, half year access to them. They availed their math lessons actually, so we could come and instruct them. And then we arranged first one informal tournament, and then we had the youth tournament in, I think, September. Yeah. So that has been a great experience, and we have learned what to do and what not to do, but we would really like to bring that forward.
So, Jan, in Netherlands, you also work with schools such as Jans do. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I will tell. First, I would like to respond that the connection with math, that's something we do not have in the Netherlands. So I'm really curious the approach you've taken. So we'll talk after this interview again.
Yeah. Yes.
In the Netherlands, we took the classic approach. We approached one primary school simply because we had only 2 persons that were able to guide youth Othello. And they allowed us to start Othello lessons an hour a week, every week again. The response was great. We started with 20-25 players, age ranging from 7 to 12. And we kept on doing that for 3 years now. The last tournament we held in the primary school, we had 36 young players. That was great. But it's the classical approach. Just motivate them, teach them a little, which, by the way, I find very hard to do, and let them have fun, and they do have fun. So that it seems to work, but I'm curious.
Can I just add briefly to that, because yes, that's the classic approach, and that's probably also very good. We have this concept of, we call it add-in. That is, we nest it within the teaching so that it's actually the teachers themselves driving instead of them having a lesson free while we are doing our stuff. So they could see, or they could see a potential in Othello that it could strengthen the students' strategic planning. So they could see it serving a purpose for their math teaching, and I think that's a secret that can make it more sustainable, maybe.
But is that done in high school or in primary school?
This is primary school, so we are talking about class 4 and 6, so maybe 11, 13 around there.
Ah, okay.
We know that it's Denmark and Netherlands have school. We also have in Mongolia and India, they have school lessons with Othello. So I think you two really recommend other federations and clubs to start up school events.
Absolutely.
Not as the only thing, but as one of many initiatives, yes, definitely.
Because in Czech Republic, you have another approach. You work with the Youth Committee Center.
Yes, well, we have something that I would say very automatic system of Othello teaching. We have 2 schools that have math teacher, and they don't teach Othello in particular, but they bring board games into classrooms. So there are plenty of board games, including Othello, and the children come to the games even during the lessons and during their school days. And as there are many children, some of them are attracted to some games, some of them to the others. So there's quite a good natural selection of children for some, let's say, more fun, family style board games, and others for more strategic board games. And it seems to be quite successful. We have the youth center in Prague as well, and that works in a similar way. That's not where children come for school, but after school, on weekends, and they also exposed to many different board games, and there are some small tournaments for the children that happen in different games.
Yeah.
And just like someone gets attracted to Othello, someone gets attracted to something else as well. The paradox, I would say, there is that our youth player this year, the first one we have this year, Nikita, he actually did not come from any of the two systems, but he learned Othello in one of the small courses that were organized, small board game courses that were organized in a completely separate place.
Okay.
Yet he got interested in the game. So even an unimportant board game course happening elsewhere can produce a player.
I want to talk some about Brazil, because I know in Brazil they have got a lot of kids and have big youth tournaments with up to 80 players. They also do working with the youth community centers, and it worked very well. I wonder, it is two persons there who working a lot to make it happen. How important are those very engaged leaders and teachers? I mean, you are since many years very engaged people who burning for Othello and want things to happen.
Any effort simply takes time. So you must like the game. You must like the game so much that you're willing to put time into it. Well, that's the case for all of us here, and I think that's key. Put time in it. If you can't find the people that put more time in it than to learn to play for themselves, if they are willing to teach others, then it can work, and it can work pretty fast as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, time is probably key.
Yeah. You have to you need to invest, but there was something else in your question also. I sensed there was the issue of the critical mass, because one burning soul can do so much, and then if you're not there anymore, it will die out. So building the critical mass where you have more people driving it, and where you have maybe 50, 100 junior players, and I guess that's exactly what they have reached in Japan, so that even if I disappear, you disappear, it will still continue. So there's an issue of volume and a long haul to make it happen. It's not just a quick fix.
Because in Czech Republic, Othello, you have a very important person, that's Jan Rybarik.
Jan Rybarik, he organizes nearly all, or helps to organize nearly all the tournaments in the country for the adults, for the young. So he's a very dedicated person, extremely dedicated person, and as you were saying, Jens, if you have many people, you will most likely find at least one or two who really help the game. And it may be just one or two parents who don't play themselves. Jan Rybarik is a player, of course, he likes the game, but most important, he supports the game.
Because now we have all those 13 youth players here. Okay, not every one of them talk English, so it can be hard for them to talk together, but I have seen, and that was real fun, because I was walking in the room in one of the breaks and saw two girls, they can speak to each other, but they played Othello and wave with the arms and try to connect. And I know that you, Mirek and Jan, have doing something to connect your country's players. Can I get picture 5? It is when you have some kind of online games.
The team match.
Yeah.
Team match.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, actually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the team match was an initiative of Czech and Israel, Czech Republic and Israel.
Israel was the initiator, I would say.
Yeah,
Leonid Schiffman,
Yeah.
who's doing a lot for the youth in Israel as well. He was the initiator. It was his idea, who contacted me, and that's how we started.
How did it work?
It worked we gathered. It was a match of 4 against 4.
Yeah.
So we gathered 4 young players till the age of 13 in one location, physical location, and they played online on Play OK against the other team, also in one place. There was always someone with them to oversee them, to look what they were doing, and they were playing each other.
Yeah. How was the reaction from the kids?
The kids loved it because they felt a part of a team, because they were 4 group mates who were fighting together against someone else, and I think they also got some interesting games against someone they can never play to.
Yeah, because you and me, Jan, we discussed a long time ago how important it is to connect the youth players, because they can see something different, meet other cultures. And we was talking about India, I remember, the schools there. How can the Othello community in the world work to connect them? Because we have the language barrier, not everyone talks same language, but how is it any way to make so they can meet and learn from each other?
I think it only takes 1 or 2 people who are able to communicate, and probably in English. Those kids can communicate without language.
Yeah.
If they play the game, they're immediately connected. And that's what you said just a few minutes earlier. They started communicating with signals, with hands, with feet, and they were playing besides the Othello game. So that's not a problem for kids at all. I think that's rather an adult problem, not being able to communicate without language. So it only needs 1 or 2 people to connect the countries together, and then the kids will have fun, the kids will understand each other, the kids will want to meet them some year in the future. Yeah. So that will go automatically, I'm sure. To continue with the team match between Israel and Czech, that was a really exciting team match. I think it was a draw, right?
It was a draw.
It was a draw. And we saw the result. We didn't even know it was played before. We saw the result, and the Dutch players immediately said, "We want a team match as well." Yeah. So it was the youth that, when they heard about the result, that wanted the team match. And actually, we played both Israel and Czech within 1 month or so. We actually challenged Italy. So here's the challenge to Italy again, and Italy hasn't responded yet. So we hope they will soon, because the Dutch players want to play more team matches.
Yeah, that was my question. Is it possible to make this grow and ask Denmark maybe is interested too? And
yes, please.
Yeah, sure. I cannot promise on their behalf, but I will definitely pass on the challenge. And I would like, if I may, to add, because what we are talking about now is extremely important, and we should have as many cross matches as possible. There's also a communication level at another, should I say, our level. And I know you have been talking about this before, but I just want to mention that each and every one of us are experimenting. We are doing it in different ways, and we are learning what's good and what's bad. And we should have a platform, and I'm sure we will get that, have a platform where we can exchange our experiences. I mean, what is the right age to start? How different can they be in level before it's not a good idea to play tournaments? Have you developed material? Have you developed quiz? For how long time can they sit before you do things? You let them go in the math. All these very practical things that do or break a success. And we are gaining experiences about that, and I'm sure you are also. And we should have a way in which we can exchange about these issues also.
Yeah, we'll have the World Othello Federation's Youth Committee who will work for it. Some of you will be involved there. I have just a last question. For the future, I mean, now we have each country can send 1 extra. Say that in the future it will be World Othello Youth Championship who's standing alone, maybe other dates and so. How could it work?
Work in terms of...
I mean, it should be, or your opinion, it should be different age classes, or
That's
or should it be more a social event?
Well,
Too?
the last 2 days clearly show that age classes won't work.
Yeah.
Because apparently a guy from 12-year-old can beat nearly anyone currently in the World Championships.
Yeah.
And he would be in, well, one of those kids' age classes, and probably not having too many problems with most other kids.
No, but do you feel that is a problem too? Because the level difference is quite big.
I'm not really sure that age classes will work.
No.
I think it will. I feel it will work better to have a larger group.
Yes.
I shouldn't say adult World Championships. The regular World Championships are a huge success simply because it's a great group of players.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 players from many countries, and it's a great social event. It's a great sportive event. I think exactly the same can exist with the youth players.
Yeah.
And of course we should set some maximum age, be it 16, be it 15, maybe 18. I'm not sure. That's a really tough question. But I'm doubtful of different age classes.
No, I agree with you. I mean, we have the world champion here, but also his opponent in the tournament is 8-year-old and could be here and probably also be world champion and play in semifinals. I've seen games against him and Takanashi, and it's amazing.
That's just scary to us.
Yeah, yeah. It was long time. We was 8, and well,
There is one thing about this tournament in particular that I would like to say, and that is that without the young players, and imagine without the female category, the players from place 30 lower have nothing really serious to fight for in the last few rounds of the tournament. As soon as we got the youth and the female category, the games somewhere between tables 20, 30, 35, they become terribly interesting in the last few rounds.
yeah,
That's true. A bigger field.
yeah. Well, I have the feeling when I'm walking around there, and I also played some World Championship, that because it is youth players and female players and all others, it's be social, it be warm, everyone likes each other, and they having fun. It's not the competition. Okay, in the top, of course, it's competition, and I've seen some be very upset, but I mean, in general, it's a very warm feeling here.
I think we have a responsibility also to nurture that, because of course people come with their own personalities, but we, as should I say, creating the culture of this tournament, can also pull it in that direction by encouraging and by being whatever, so that we make sure that this is not just to kill others, but it's actually a community. And I think we have a responsibility to be aware that we build the right culture around it. Yes.
So I will thank you, Jens, Mirek, and Jan.
Pleasure.
And I will end this evening with Live Othello TV to tell you the right answers in the quiz. And we have number 1. Which woman player qualified most times for the women's finals? And it was Veronica Stenberg from Sweden, Caroline Odsell, also from Sweden, and Jessica Helmers from Netherlands have been World Championship, and Jessica have the chance to be it again this year. But the right answer was number 3, Veronica Stenberg. Question number 2 is, which African country was the first to attend the World Othello Championship? It was Madagascar. And both Kenya and Ivory Coast have been here. Ivory Coast is here this year, and Kenya was in Denmark 2000.
Amsterdam 2002.
Yeah. How many national federations are in the World Othello Federations? It is 31 is the correct answer. Japan have won most team... question number 4. Japan have won most team World Othello Championship. Which country is the second one? And that is USA. And question number 5. Japan have won... Oh, now I get it wrong here. Who was the first European champion is the question for number 5. And that was Imre Lieder from... No, it was Paul Ralph from France. Yeah, someone give me wrong.
Imre is still trying.
Yes, true. And the tie break is what will be the sum of black discs achieved during round 13. The issue here is that I forget to count. So we will count it, and the answer for that question and the 3 winners, and one of them will win this game, Othello, and 2 will win Cardinal Othello games. So see at our page, woc2017.worldothello.org, and you can see all the questions there and who the winner is. So see you tomorrow for the final day. It will be an exciting day, and I hope you 3 will be there and look too. So
Definitely.
Guy, Jeroen and Emmanuel is ready for you tomorrow morning. Good night from Ghent.
And all the juniors out there, go for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are ready to help you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.